All right. Coming from Smoke, he makes life easy. This is why I cite this brother all the time. And give him a follow over at Smoke Dog. Replace the O's with Q's. He states here that is the quotation. FedNow connection to Stellar. Allison Baller, balling it up, right? Who's the vice president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston and the current head of industry readiness, of course, for FedNow. Now, this isn't a quant video, but how many times have we cited the connection with them, with Bank of Boston, especially when it comes to some of these projects and the test pilots? But we've already been there and done that. And again, trying to make it about Stellar. So before joining the bank, she spent 20 years at IBM working on blockchain and payments. Now, I stated this in the recent video, did I not? I stated, guys, that watch out for Stellar with the whole thing, once again, about IBM Worldwire. Did this not age well? I think it is, because when we get more into it, IBM blockchain is in fact based on the Stellar protocol, as you can see in the documented documents below. And before we get further into it,
if managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. So just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
Let's go ahead and full screen this and make it bigger. So for one, Allison Baller, like we mentioned, her ties to the FedNow initiative. In this role, Allison is responsible, like it says, for facilitating industry readiness for adoption. Think about it, guys. There is a reason why the framework has been laid down for it all before regulations hit. You don't lay down the foundation for a house, right, without a good foundation. You don't just slap together a bunch of chicken wire and whatnot and stucco and call it a day. No, there's a reason why it's literally called the foundation, right? Even Quant Network, the foundation for blockchain, the foundation for digital finance. So many people complain about the price not moving. I can appreciate a long-term investment. I don't want to be invested in some pump and dunk. Thinking about NBA Finals, pump and dump scheme coming into fruition. Don't want that, because if anything hints, any hint of doubt moving forward, because there wasn't proper standards and whatnot, they wouldn't even bother with this stuff, especially at the legislative levels, right? Absolutely not. So getting further into this and what matters to you, Smoke highlights some key things, and that is where, in this part actually isn't highlighted, she will also be instrumental in the creation and management of the FedNow pilot. Think about that, of advisory groups with customers and third-party stakeholders. Prior to the bank, Allison spent 20 years at the IBM Corporation. My goodness, guys. Where she most recently served as a global market development executive in the area of blockchain and payments. During this time, she led a global team to launch a blockchain payments platform for real-time clearing and settlement. Did we stutter here? Real-time clearing and settlement. When I see real-time, I think of real-time payments. Stellar is a real-time payment. XLM is a real-time payment. Connections, obviously, to USDC, right? But settlement. Yeah, settlement. Because at the end of the day, it's all about real-time gross settlements. Which coin or token would settle? And again, hence all the testing of the RLN and the RSN reliability settlement network. Regulated settlement network. Man, so many terms. I apologize. Let's jump back into this from Smoke. He has another page that makes sense. This is from another citation. This one comes literally from IBM. You can look this up for yourself. Yeah, taken from a cell phone picture, but how many people are not using cell phones at this particular day in time? So, support with IBM blockchain Worldwire tomorrow. Look what it says. Adam's Bank, kicking over to Worldwire, kicking over to Laura's Bank, right? The orchestration of how that's all done, clearing and settlement, but what does it say in the highlight? The IBM blockchain Worldwire difference. Yeah, the Worldwire difference. Again, look what it says on the bottom left. Liquidity provider, crypto, fintech, so on and so forth. But the bottom middle shows the orchestration of Who and what? The Stellar Protocol, their own consensus protocol, the STP. Actually, so again, so many abbreviations. You know what? Sometimes I read too much, you guys. I apologize. I read too much and it just becomes a word just on the screen. Anyway, you get the gist of that. That's important. Let's jump into the next part of what we have. All right. How about this one? Great citation again. IBM demonstrated, let's pull this up actually on the screen, just in case you're on your cell phone, because some of you guys like it nice and big. IBM demonstrated its recently introduced cross-border payment system for the financial institutions, not just some regular Joe Schmoes, financial institutions based on blockchain tech. It's working with Stellar on the product, which converts fiat currencies. So that would be like your USDCs, right? Yeah, you understand the Stellar USDC plug with Circle, right? So again, think about that. And look what it says, like Stellar Lumens. It doesn't say like possibly. It says like Stellar Lumens or any other digital currencies or bank-backed tokens. So again, some of you guys, you're like, you see the thumbnails, you're like, yeah, these guys, they don't talk about XLM. I'm invested in XLM. Think about that. So it says any other digital currencies or bank-backed tokens for transmission across the network with conversion of the digital asset into the second fiat currency, completing, of course, the transaction. But don't ever forget, Stellar Lumens XLM. That's a major big deal because, again, when we get further into the whole big thing and why it matters to you, I want to share this again. Before joining the bank, she spent 20 years at IBM, been there, done that. IBM blockchain is based on the Stellar protocol. We see it below. And when we click into this, like he says, there is no coincidences here. None. FedNow mentioned an article titled Blockchain provides the real-time payments customers demand. No coincidences. Blockchain is the only tech that allows 24/7 real-time settlement and allows payments like FedNow to scale to fit any volume of transactions. Let's cite this for a brief moment. Let's pull this up. This comes from SoftServe originally. And like you see here, let's pull this up. Blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. As a result, they are demanding similar instant gratification from the banks, yet in most cases, payments are still not made and settled in real time. Don't ever forget that, because again, we can't go back to how the old system was, where it's just Monday through Friday. If we're gonna do 24/7, 365, that would be blockchain technology. Pull up the next particular tab, why it matters to you. Here's actually the true highlight. SoftServe points out this: the path of achieving real-time payments. Using blockchain process, payments allows settlement again 24/7. Similarly, the Federal Reserve, like it says here, is slated to unveil its FedNow service, at least back in 2023, will also offer real-time settlement. Again, what about the mandates of the technologies, the underlying tech? Again, Clearinghouse developed its RTP network, and you see how this all comes together. The other thing I want to point out is basically this as well. FedNow will be the first regulated universal instant payments network in the United States. So many people point out the whole thing of the United States. That's all you care about. Well, you should care about the world too, but I get it. So FedNow, let's blow it up more, will enable all U.S. banks, not some, all U.S. banks, financial institutions to transcend these limitations by becoming part of the country's first regulated universal instant payments network, which I know Jesse's just biting at the bit to talk about that, and he will here shortly. Their participation, however, will require a delicate balancing act of introducing new infrastructure. Think about this. New infrastructure on top of existing, often legacy architecture. So for some, you guys have stated that, yeah, Maximus Crypto's done a lot of deep dives about the quant connection to FedNow. There definitely is, because when we talk about new infrastructure on top, well, Overledger is on top. But we're, of course, talking about Stellar in the mix. I think this is a big deal moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why we provide you these type of deep dives, because, again, it all makes sense, and for me, it always will be, because again, it's just an endless rabbit hole. I mean, we could get more and more into this. FedNow reaches 50% adoption nationwide. There will be greater justification. So who's the underlying tech? And this part, again, just in case you think this is just smoke, blowing up some smoke, right? No. He cites this from treasuryandrisk.com, more receipts, and in the receipts, as a number of participants across both network rises into the hundreds, and the corporate adoption rate goes up more like 50%, suddenly there will be greater justification for participants to try to connect to various domestic instant payment networks. You better believe that Stellar XLM is definitely one of those instant payment networks. Your thoughts? Mr. Jesse of Apex Crypto Consulting, NFA. Follow him on YouTube. He is awesome with his deep dive content. Yes, his content. Jesse.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for following and subscribing. Appreciate it a lot. Yeah, so we see there IBM blockchain built like right on Stellar, right? Like you can see the little curly things or whatever, and then later on, because at first they talk about it like it's the IBM blockchain, and you saw that circle that was creating like this interoperability, this settlement. But then when you go lower, this circle is now saying, you know, this is a Stellar blockchain, which was doing the settlement. So it's hard coded on the Stellar. Crazy. And like you said, it's clearing and settlement, right? It's not messaging, maybe doing a few settlements. No, it's the clearing and the settlement. This is it, right? And the document was saying that 2023 FedNow. So they've probably been ready since 2023. And then at the end of the document, it was saying how, you know, there'll be like a surge of participants. It'll be an increase of like 50% more, and they'll rush in. And I think the majority of them are already connected, but they have to talk like that in the document, saying like it'll grow really fast. No, I think the majority of them are all connected right now. It's just waiting for the ISO standards to everybody to be on that level playing field for the messaging, right? The messaging 222. Excuse me. So I think they're just waiting for that. Like it's like the cutoff is coming now. It's like what, 5 months? We are June right now. I think it's 5 months from now. Everybody's got to be on that ISO standard. And once it is, I think that's the only thing that's missing. That's the only thing that's missing right now. So it's crazy. What else? Oh, bank-backed tokens settling through Stellar, because it's saying it's going from one token, bank-backed token, into True Stellar to another currency. So you're seeing these banks and these different companies are tokenizing their tokens or whatever, right? They're tokenizing on the Stellar and on the Ripple XRP blockchain. So, for example, there'll be like Citi token. Citibank will tokenize. They'll have a token, and then maybe like a JP Morgan token, and then name them. They're all going to have their own token, for example, and then they can just settle through Stellar or XRP. And it's the same for Starbucks. Starbucks is going to have a token, and McDonald's is going to have a token, and Tim Hortons and whatever. Like all these different major food chains, these major companies are going to have tokens. And because we're seeing that with reward miles, right? With Oracle, Oracle is building these reward tokens. Instead of being reward miles, air miles for the airlines, it's their reward tokens. So these air miles are now in the form of a token. And for that, they're using Quant over Ledger, because you can't do anything without Quant. Quant is that true solution that allows you to build multi-chain application. But one of the blockchain that it uses for a lot of this tokenization is Stellar or XRP. And I'm not saying that tokenization is not going to happen on some other blockchains too a bit, but when it comes to the settlement, okay, you can tokenize on some other blockchains as well. We're seeing these real-world asset being tokenized on different blockchains, but even if there's some tokenization happening on the other blockchains, the settlement, the main settlement is going to be through Stellar and XRP, because that's where the liquidity is. You need liquidity, and a lot of people don't understand the need for liquidity. You can't settle billions and trillions of dollars if there's no liquidity. The price will be too out of whack. And you can't wait for 2 hours or an hour or 30 minutes for it to settle either. So you have to have a lot of liquidity, and you also have to settle really, really quickly. And if you do, then it doesn't matter if the price changes a tiny bit or whatever, because settlement happens so quickly, it doesn't even affect anything. So you need liquidity. That's the thing. Like the main blockchains for liquidity is Stellar and XRP.
I know we're talking about Stellar, but this has a little bit of XRP in that regard. Let's pull this up. So basically speaking, this comes from Uphold. And Rue Black and I basically recently shared something like this with Zebek, but this actually pounds home even that much more for your FedNow plug. Because again, when we talk about FedNow, recognize that 24/7 instant payments. So we're going from the stages of instead of getting paid once a month or bi-weekly, or some of you guys are fortunate enough to get paid weekly on your paycheck. You know, I've only had one job ever. It was back year 1999, 2000. It was a labor. That was really, really hard work, but at least we got paid weekly, which was cool. So the difference is, think about the FedNow system, all right? FedNow will allow you to get some of that 24/7, 365. All right. Pay attention to what I just said about that, because again, we zoom in about this, we see from Uphold, big news, United States, we've launched direct deposit and it comes with rewards. Get 4% XRP back for every salary linked direct deposit of 250 or more. Seamless, automated, straight into your Uphold account. And I know some of you guys don't like Uphold. Again, I'm just trying to share some of the news, but whatever the case be, I haven't had much issue with it, but it's kind of mixed. And I understand that. But again, introducing direct deposit. So if you can earn yields on some of this is the start of what some people are pointing out about, like some people state they don't know if they ever sell their XRP because they see a very high valuation for it, right? Like we point out, like maybe over $10,000 at one particular point. And so I'm not going to say it necessarily happens tomorrow, but whatever the case be, that's a big, big deal to get 4% XRP back for every salary linked direct deposit. Combine that with FedNow. What about Stellar moving forward? Again, think about some of that. This is why we share some of these particular examples. So that's going to close it out for us. Simply just a solid if you listen to the entire outline and type in this key phrase into the comments, and that is XLM FedNow, and we'll know that you listened to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and Jesse over at Apex Crypto Consulting NFA, know what you have, know what you hold it. The research trumps flood, 110%. We'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.